Hello, welcome to Chapter 1 of Charles Dickens, A Christmas Carol. And we will get started here once I get to the right page. And we'll start with Chapter 1. There was no doubt that Marley was dead. The register of his burial was signed by the clergyman, the clerk, the undertaker, and the chief mourner. Scrooge signed it too. Old Marley was as dead as a doornail. Scrooge and Marley were partners for many years. Scrooge was his sole co-worker, his sole friend, and sole mourner. And even Scrooge was not so dreadfully saddened by the sad event. Scrooge never painted out old Marley's name from the sign that hung on their office door. There it stood years afterwards. Above the warehouse door, Scrooge and Marley. The firm was known as Scrooge and Marley. Scrooge was as cheap as they come. He was a mean old man. External heat and cold had little influence on Scrooge. No warmth could warm, no wintry weather could chill him. No wind that blew was bitterer than he. Nobody ever stopped him in the street to say with friendly looks, "My dear Scrooge, how are you? When will you come to see me?" No beggars implored him to bestow a trifle. But what did Scrooge care? He took great pleasure in the fact that he was not well liked and that he did not well like others. One cold and bitter Christmas Eve, Scrooge sat in his office. He left the door to his office open so that he could easily monitor the doings of his employee, Bob Cratchit. The fire that was lit for his employee was so small that it barely gave off any warmth at all. "A Merry Christmas, Uncle!" cried a cheerful voice. It was the voice of Scrooge's nephew. "Bah!" said Scrooge. "Humbug!" "Christmas a humbug, Uncle?" said Scrooge's nephew. "You don't mean that, I'm sure." "I do," said Scrooge. "Merry Christmas! What right have you to be merry? What reason have you to be merry? You're poor." "Well then," returned the nephew happily, "what right have you to be dismal? What reason have you to be mean? You're rich enough." "What else can I be," returned the uncle, "when I live in such a world of fools as this? Merry Christmas! What's Christmas time to you but a time for buying gifts when you have no money, a time for finding yourself a year older, but not a bit richer?" "Uncle," pleaded the nephew. "Nephew," returned the uncle sternly, "keep Christmas in your own way, and let me keep it in mine." "Don't be angry, Uncle. Come, dine with us tomorrow." Scrooge said he would not. "But why?" cried Scrooge's nephew. "Why?" "Why did you get married?" said Scrooge. "Because I fell in love." "Nonsense," growled Scrooge. "Good afternoon." His nephew left the room without an angry word. He stopped at the outer door to bestow the greetings of the season on the clerk who, cold as he was warmer than Scrooge, for he returned them cordially. "There's another fellow," muttered Scrooge, "my clerk, with 15 shillings a week, and a wife and family, talking about a Merry Christmas. Humbug!" And that is the end of Chapter 1. Tune in tomorrow, and we will have Chapter 2.